one of the best books on flies and fly tying, even for people who don't tie flies. We'll talk about that title today on Casting Across. Hi, I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. In all of the book review videos that I have made, only a handful have been about fly tying books. And the primary reason for that is, although I am a utilitarian fly tyer, I don't consider myself an expert by any stretch of the imagination. So those books that I do have comprise a very small segment of my fly fishing library. But I have the utmost respect for people who are masters of the craft. Some of my friends in the fly fishing industry who are accomplished tyers, even people I fish with that can just make wings on Catskill dries look way better than I ever could. That said, I really enjoyed this book, and I think you will too, regardless of your level of fly tying acumen. And it is Imposters by Skip Morris. This just came out in the summer of 2026 from the good people at Stackpole. Pretty good sized book, over 250 pages, a few dozen essays, and in each one, the main character that Skip introduces is a fly, or maybe a couple of flies. Now, it's about him, and it's about his fishing and some of the people that fish with him. But make no mistake about it, this book is all about the flies that Skip ties and fishes with. Now, a few things. In each essay, he introduces perhaps an aspect of that fly's history, whether he was the creator or not. He talks about the evolution of that fly, maybe how it was tied in one particular way early on in his tying career, and then he made some modifications. Or he may talk about how that fly gets fished in different situations to different fishes, and even the seasonality of using that fly. And so consequently, even if you don't care about how many ribs there are on the abdomen of the fly, you don't care about what material the wings are made out of, you still learn something about the intentionality of how and why that fly comes together in the way that it does. In your fly box, and you're fishing with it. And so now you've learned something. And Skip does this in an incredibly engaging and highly readable way. He is a phenomenal writer, and it is a joy to read his works. So each one of these essays, and they run the gamut in length, but each one concludes with a lovely pencil drawing by his wife, Carol Ann. And then there's a little bit of a description on how that fly comes together with some well-articulated notes at the bottom. Now, that's not enough for a newbie to take that info and turn it into that fly. You would need to use something else, like one of Skip's dozen or so other fly tying books to give you that information. But it's just a great way for someone who is already a tyer, familiar with fly tying, to take all that information they just got, maybe even have a little bit more detail as to why they're tying the fly the way they are, how they're tying it the way they are, and putting it into practice. So highly recommend Imposters. It was a great read. I put it kind of at the top tier of my fly and or fly tying books, and I highly recommend it to you. You can find out where you can get a copy below, and then of course go to castingacross.com, where there's 3 posts a week on the people, places, and things that go into the pursuit of fish.